Take my life and take my waiting as an offering, while I hold your words. And wipe my tears. Do not leave me here, oh Lord, in this valley that I cannot understand. Do not leave me with my questions. Take my trembling, take my hand. If you lead me through the silence, I will still believe you're near. Just don't hide your face forever. Do not leave me here. 10 years, 20, 30, 50. If it takes my whole short life, I will watch beside this doorway with your promise as my light. I will wait on you, oh Lord. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. When the days are long and nothing seems to move, I will keep your words locked deep within my heart, till my waiting life becomes my love for you. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. Through the rise and fall of every passing year, I will whisper back the words that you have spoken. Only do not leave me here. Your words are the only treasure I can carry through this night. I will bind them to my memory till they turn my fear to light. When my strength is small and failing, when my hope is wearing thin, I will open what you've spoken and let your sentences breathe me in. If the heavens feel like grass above me, if my prayers fall back like rain, still I'll lay my heart upon your altar and wait for you in joy and pain. I will wait on you, oh Lord. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. When the nights are cold and nothing seems to change, I will keep your words like fire in my heart, till they burn through doubt and rearrange. Oh, and I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. 10 and 20, 30, 50 years. Let the world move on without me if it must. Only do not leave me here. Even if you tarry, I will stay at the door where I last knew your voice. Even if the seasons all run together, I will cling to the first time you gave me a choice. To love you in the waiting, to trust you in the dark, to guard the word you gave me as the lantern of my heart. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. Through the quiet and the storm and the unknown, I will keep your words as covenant inside me, till the day you come and call me home. Do not leave me here, oh Lord. If you lead, I'll follow all my years. Take my life and take my waiting as an offering, while I hold your words and wipe my tears.
Heavenly Father, in Jehovah, the master mason of everlasting walls, who walked the length of the house, as the turning of each age, and with the lamp of thy hand and chisel at thy belt, and who breathes every stone twice, and once upon the face and once upon the back, We, Father, we come before thee this hour as the stone is laid upon thy walls. And as we tremble, we, Father, we know that the call to the wall is not the same as the engraving in the book. I ask to hear the cry of those who call and will be chosen. For thou hast sent forth thy servants into the highways, into the hedges, and that they are called many. But thou hast called us by the preaching of thy word, and thou hast called us by the drawing of thy spirit. Thou hast called us by the inscriptions of the name upon the face of our profession. We have learned this hour, in the hour to come, the troubled doctrines of the wall, that many are called and few are chosen, and that the calling reach the face of the stone, and while the chosen reach the back. And we, Father, we confess that we has been contended and we've been content too long with the inscriptions upon the face. We have worn the function of thy name and upon the profession, and we have not always, Father, let thy spirit seal the back of our practice to match it. We have stood on the wall bearing the glorious face, but we have feared to let the lamp to reach the back, and let the seal find us that there be a seal of a contrary master. So I ask, Father, to search us, to turn the stone over, while the door of mercy is there stand upon, that we be not turned. For the first time in the day is this omission, Father. And the final of the book is closed. Reach the lamp in the back of our hearts. And if there be the seal of another master upon us, we ask, Father, to break it. If there be soot of a strained ostrich, we ask, Father, that you wash it. And if there be gods of beaten enemies, we are carried home from our victories, I ask to cast them down. If there be ashes of a word that we, Father, we have burned because we would not obey it, raise the word again from the ashes and write it upon the tables of our hearts, and let it be a seal upon our backs and our practice to match the inscription upon the face of our calling, that when thou readest us twice, we may be read both times the same, and the calling that's the chosen may be that one that we are not divided with you. For we are seeing this hour, Father, the four faces bored in the four functions, and whose backs bore the inversion, whose names we are called into the wall and never written into the book. And we are not willing, Father, to add into their number. We do not ask merely to be called, for we are called for many, and called alone to save no man. We ask to be chosen, to be among the few, to be that small number whose back agree with the face, who practice confirm their profession, whose name is upon the stone and matched by the Spirit within the stone. Make us not as hearers only, Father, deceiving our own selves, but doers of the word, with the glorious face and the empty back, and seeking but the stone whom the Master may turn over and find no contradiction, and write our names upon the book of the house, upon your building. And in that day, Father, in the ways of Jehovah, we walk in the wall and the lamps and turn its every stone. Let us not pass by in silence. Let us not be glorious and lift our faces, Father. Let us not be called where we are not chosen. Let thy lamp find thy spirit ascend upon the book. In the back of the practice, answering the name upon the faces of our calling, write us, Father, into the book and build us into the house. And set us among the chosen fruit who endure unto the end, for many are called and few are chosen. And we beseech thee, Father, this hour, for the cleansing of our backs to match the seal, and make us of the few. And Father, I pray this prayer to you, that we, Father, may be the ones that are chosen. This I pray in the ways of Jehovah. In Jehovah I will always pray in. Amen. And shalom everyone, shalom. I want to welcome everyone to the House of the Lost Sheep of Israel. I'm the pastor here with the House of the Lost Sheep of Israel and also with King James Bible University, and I want to welcome each and every one of you guys here today. And today we have a full plate. We have a full plate today. And we have a lot of things we're going to be going through based on, you see here with the omitted names. What's going on here. So a lot of this stuff I have to take you in a more legal way to do that. So a lot of this I'll be talking a language, but then we can get everything straightened out. If you don't understand, we can get some things straightened out later. But I know a lot of people is asking and who that other man is on the other side, and that's not a AI. That actually is my dad in his heyday. So most people want to figure out who that is, but that's my father. If you ever see my nephew, Melvin, who's up in Las Vegas, you ever see him? He's the spitting image of this man. I'm talking about the spitting image, like he spit him out. But that's my father. But it's it's there for a particular reason why you see it this way. For the omitted ones, will your name survive the turning of the stone? And him and my mom named me. It has a lot to do with this teaching that's going out today, the omitted ones. But before we want to get started, I do want to have a couple of announcements. One, Sister Prince. We want to make sure everybody reaches out and do that, because I haven't had a chance to on my busy schedule. But then also we have to sit there and touch bases with Sister Prince. She has lost her mother this past week. So if you guys have her number, please reach out. She over there, and she over in St. Kitts. So on your mind. And then we have the other ones where we have with Sister Brown and also with Brother Brown. Brother Brown is still, I think he's still part of the team, if I'm not for sure, because I seen him doing it in the chat. But I want to let people know that Sister Brown and Brother Brown, they was taking care of the chat. They was the head of the moderating team. They took care of the SharePoint. And I want to make sure that each and every one know, just with them, to where, through their diligent work and what they have did across all the channels, and as we continually grow, that they did it without complaint. They did it without sitting there saying they unable. But they always did it with diligent work, and they always did it with a happy smile on their face. So I wanted to let them know. And as the people over here with King James Bible University, they're not going anywhere. They just is no longer over these teams. So we just wanted to let them know. We want to thank them for their years of service. We want to thank them for all that they did. And same thing is, I still, she know I'm still hurt behind this. So that's why I complain about it. But I got fired on my day off. And what I mean by that is, I call myself, and most people don't know why I say that sometimes. What actually happened was, one day was in the chat, wasn't nobody putting in verses. So I took it upon myself, and I didn't think nothing about it. And I started putting in verses in the chat. And I get a phone call, not the one with me and Elder Jenkins, but it was just her. And she called me up, asked me what in the hell am I doing. So I was just helping in the chat. I got fired on the spot. So I got fired on my day off. Just letting you know. But she did it in love. But she was real stern about what she said. She fired me. I got fired on my day off. So this is why y'all don't see me put anything but just my own amens in the chat. So I didn't see in the letter that she sent to us, I didn't see that she was going to restore me back to where I can put stuff in the chat or help in the chat. So I guess I'm still fired from that position. But I want to thank them, and I ask everybody else to let them know and thank them for all the diligent work that they have done all the way through and always without complaint. So we, from the bottom of our hearts, and from all the elders, the deacons, the brothers, and all the people who's even in this chat, should thank you for the diligent work that you guys did, because you guys did it without complaint. You guys did it without murmuring. You guys did it without argument. So we appreciate you. They're still here, but they ain't going nowhere. But they still here. But we thank them for all the services that they did. And we're moving forward to also, I want people to know also on Sister Kirby. I've been checking on her. She hasn't been up to weather, but she's doing good. She's doing good. But I'm gonna be checking on her again. I talked to her this morning. So we just want to make sure we keep all our loved ones close, making sure that they're good and all the time and what they're doing. And now we want to look at something as we continue to move forward. On this past week, actually for the past couple of weeks, we've been looking at the names, trying to understand what these names mean and the functioning behind the names. So we had a lot of brothers, we had a lot of elders, deacons, everybody been sitting there going through these names. And it's really important on what's going on, and actually why you guys see that image, what you see here. It's highly important. But I'm gonna start this lesson with a little bit of a riddle, so to say, a riddle, or something to where it can help people to understand exactly what I'm talking about. Because I want you to think of a space in a wall that proves nothing. So when you're looking at a wall, you're looking at between that wall. The space is nothing. It proves nothing. But the space where the stone was cut to fit, the stone that lies next to the room, in the next room, bearing the mason mark, proves everything. So who hand removes the stone is why the mark still accused it. Or if your name be a window and your deed be the light between it or behind it, what shall the passerby believe? Or the one within the window reads, fire in the room is cold. I want you to think about that. I want you to truly think about that. But we want to understand, we want to recap as we going through this. We want to recap on what's going on. Because last week we were recapping based on the omitted king. The first was Azariah, the heir of the five facets which holding the anchor. So when we looked even at the dictionary, you look through it, you see that Gehazi, and we see Jacahiza is Jexiah, that's the one, I was mixing it up. Is Jehovah who has grasped and Jehovah upholds, whom Jehovah holds fast. And we want to look at these real quick. So I'm going to go through these real quick, and we want to get some understanding here. And we see this in 2 Kings. I want to go here to 2 Kings real quick. In 2 Kings, and we're going to look at 10:35. We want to look at this right here to help us get to where we need to be. It said, and Jehu slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria. And Jehuziah, his son, reigned in his stead. We're going to go down, we're going to look at verse 13:1. See some of the same thing. We get down to 13, verse 1. And this is where our keys are going to start kicking in. And it says, there were 23 years of Joash, the son of Ahaziah, the king of Judah, and then Jehaziah, the son of Jehu, began to reign over Israel, Samaria, and he reigned 17 years. So we got 5 facets that verified him. No facet is interfered. What I want you to understand is, we're going to be running, and I'm going to have to run it, because I was trying to see other ways to do this. But I'm going to have to also sometime use a lot of legal things to make sure we can understand it. Even though I'm using the Master Hebraist method, but I'm trying to run it through another way to where we can all understand it clearly. Because to understand the similitudes before the opening of the inversions, the doctrine may be clearly seen, as we see over here. Same thing like I was showing you here when you're looking at Romans 1:20. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so they are without excuse. I want you to keep this in mind, because I want you to also consider something. Clearly seen is the things that are made after the rule of this. Meaning this, when you're looking at Romans 1:20, we want to consider a man, consider a man who builds his own garage or vehicle. But then he stamps on the hood the crest of a Porsche. We got to use Porsche because that's one of the vehicles I love. So he put this Porsche there. He called the Porsche a 911. I want everybody to keep that in mind. The 911. The body is shaped right, the badge is right. From the street or the eye, the one that passed by and reads Porsche. And they're satisfied with that. But he take the vehicle to the manufacturer, to Stuttgart, because Stuttgart is the manufacturer. In the presence of one of their own, they're going to turn this car over. They're going to, read the chassis number. They're going to examine the engine block. They're going to trace the numbers to the authorized lineage, is what they're doing. And then they're going to declare it's a replica. No matter how cunning it's shaped, no matter how perfect it looked, like the Porsche Turbo, it's still going to be determined as a replica from the manufacturer. They will not enter it into their lineup because they will not stand behind it. They will not warrant it, because the lawmakers of that vehicle would have to give the rights to that. Porsche is what Porsche makes. Everybody with me? Porsche is what Porsche makes. No matter how the other hand authorized the name. So hopefully we starting to understand some of that. Hopefully we can understand some, and better yet, even for the women. Some of the women may say, I don't know. So let me even use for the women. I want you to consider the purse I want you to consider a Louis Vuitton. I know women, I know y'all ears done perked up now. Y'all ears done perked up now. But consider Louis Vuitton on the street. And it's full of bags that bear the same monogram. The eyes glances and read Louis Vuitton, and then they'll walk on. It's on the street. But the manufacturer do not glance as what we do. The manufacturer they're going to examine the stitching, the leather, the date code, the inward construction of that purse. This is what they're going to do. And when they get to it, and when they see it was counterfeit brought before the maker, not merely they're going to refuse to where they're going to add it to the boutique. The purse and its source, what they do, what Louis Vuitton do, they tear it up, they burn it, they press it, meaning they're going to consume it utterly, deeming it can never be sold as a Louis Vuitton. Now, I want you to put them two together. We're going to look at this in another way. The wisest man in the world taught us this rule. There's only one, and that was Solomon. The integrity of the man was so sacred upon the maker that every false bag on the street damages every true bag in the boutique. The maker will not suffer the contamination to stand. You keep this in mind. Because literally, what I just told you and what I just fed you is something that will come up right out of Solomon's mouth. And we don't need no verses. You can take all verses out. We need no verses. So, what we have to understand is this. So we can understand the natural similitudes for setting this world. That Jehovah, we are meant to learn the spiritual understanding from it. So when we're looking at the 5 facets of Amaziah, and it's pronounced as Ahaziah, but I always say Ahaziah. But when we're looking at this, the manufacturer is going to stamp this holding. Always on that name. This is what we got to focus on. And when he stamped his information on the name, the holding, the way a guide is set upon the vessel, the king as the badge is set upon the hood. And those 5 was, Jehovah has grasped, remember that one? Jehovah sustained, remember that one? In whom Jehovah upholds, Jehovah holds and possesses, and taken by God. All those is attached to that name, Isaiah. So they're not the name that make the king choose. They are the way the manufacturer authorized. Everybody follow me? They are not the name the king choose. They are the way the manufacturer authorized. The area that bore on them was meant to roll out the manufacturer gate, a true vessel of the holding way, performing every facet. The maker designed, the grasper, the sustainer, the upholder, the possessor, to take only as the anointed. That's the key, what we got to remember. That's why I'm saying that. So now, to strike those 5 inversions, one by one, to hold the badge and what's going on in the garage, the chassis number. So we got to look at it and see how these indictments marked. And I'm going to start showing these to you to where we can sit there and get some understanding there. We're going to see one in 2 Chronicles. We're going to go there real quick. 2 Chronicles, we're going to look at 22. 2 Chronicles 22. And we're going to sit there. We're going to pick this up at 22 and verse 3. Right here. We're going to look at verse 3. Here. Why it keep? There we go. Right here. And it said, he, who? Ahaziah. And he walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother was his counselor to do wickedly. I want you to keep that in mind. So the badge upon the hood says Porsche. The engine was assembled in Athaliah's garage, his mother. Now y'all follow me. We should kind of understand this. So now the indictment against every facet is going to be shown. And we got to watch 5 ways God exposed as this home shop replica on what we're seeing. So Jehovah has grasped. Remember, that was one of them. So, but he grasped upon the soul of Athaliah in the house of Ahab, not the grasp of the covenant. So the hand uphold on the wheel was not the manufacturer's. It was the daughter of Jezebel. The chassis number did not match the badge. We have to look at another one. Jehovah sustained. This was the sustaining that was the sustaining of a corporate, this corruption system. So it was a control. So more so it was a corruption stream. I keep saying stream. Not of Jehovah, but it was the fluid that ran the engine. It's not refined by the manufacturer house. And it was siphoned. This was siphoned out from Baal Sitzar, from the northern kingdom. No fuel of Baal can sustain the way of God. We have another one. The same thing, like I said. Whom Jehovah upholds. But he was upheld by Ahab's house. Ahab's house cannot uphold any man. He can only pour down into Baal. The frame beneath the badge was not the manufacturer's frame. The frame welded at the manufacturer never licensed a counterfeit frame that cannot bear the load the authorized way. You see what's going on? Jehovah holds and possessed. He possessed the mother's counsel, as I just showed you in 2 Chronicles 22 and 3. You see it right here. I have it right here. It's right here for you. So the title of the ownership did not run into the manufacturer. It ran into Athaliah. The bill of the seal bears her hand, not his. So the vehicle wore the crest of one owner, and it was registered in the name of another. Everybody follow me there. This is why we got to walk it a certain way to try to make sure we're getting what's going on. Because we're going to get in some deep water in a minute. Same way we're looking at taken by God. Taken by God. But he was not taken in the covenant favor. He was not taken in the covenant, but he was taken by God. But he wasn't taken in the covenant favor. He was taken in Jehu's arrow that flew away at the greenhouse. Let's look at something. We're going to see this over in 2 Kings 9:27. Let's look at it. We're going to see something. In 2 Kings 9:27. Let me put this back. Yeah. We're going to go down to 9:27. And it's here. And now let me, don't need that. So this is the one we want here. So here it says, but when Uzziah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden of the house. And Jehu followed after him and said, smite him also in the chariot. And they did so. At the going up to Gar, which is by Ibeen, and he fled to Megiddo, and he died there. So we see what's going on. So when he got by Megiddo, the vehicle was not taken by the manufacturer's collection. It was overtaken upon the road of the recall of the judgment, and the wreck lies at Megiddo as a legal proof that the replica was never authorized. I'm just trying to show you in a carnal way to see what spiritually was happening. So the 5 ways of God, the 5 inversions, the 5 facets, the manufactured badge stamped upon the vessel, built in the garage, never licensed, in the era of whom Jehovah grants to sustain, upheld, possess, to take in the air. Never happened. The badge of the hood reads Porsche. The engine block was Baal's. Their own time and what they believe. So the legal reason of Matthew, we look at this. When we go back to, and we're going to be looking at that later, the legal reason why Matthew omitted this error from the chart, when you're looking at Matthew chapter 1, because the similitude of the finished work, the lawful manufacturer, Jehovah, the lawful manufacturer, did not add a replica into his lineup. All those ways belonged to that name, but the replica that was put in there through Athaliah, he had to destroy. The manufacturer destroyed the replica. The integrity of every true vessel in the lineup may not contaminate by the false bearing of his mark. That's why I sit there and talk about names, why it's very important. Louis Vuitton, same thing. It consumes all the counterfeits in the fire. Porsche refuses the home built at the gate. So Jehovah going to forsake from the onyx stone. The error of every facet was inverted. For the engraved, it was to be authorized by the manufacturer name upon the vessel he never built. So the problem is, a lot of us, we carry biblical names, but we have it's a replica, because they're C and they're CU, but then when they're looking for it to be authenticated, you're not operating in that way. It entered into a counterfeit lineup. It will be declared that Jehovah manufactured what the garage of Athaliah assembled. The ways of God shall not be charged with the workmanship of an enemy. Everybody follow me? This is not this is a legal verdict and a trademark that we have came in on. So this verdict of the manufacturer, who alone holds the authority to authorize his ways, not us. Not us. If we carry that name, we carry that way. And once that name is there, and we decide to try to take it our way because that's what we feel, he has a right to reject it. He's the manufacturer of that name. He's the manufacturer of Michael. He's the manufacturer of Joseph. He's the manufacturer of David, not us. And if it's false, he's going to reject it. So many people bears these names. And so when you walk into that room, you look into that window and you don't see that. So then you know it's not real. Matthew, as the spirit scribe who broke in the counterfeit into the only lawful way to preserve the integrity of the chart, by omission. That's why they got omitted. That the name cannot bore falsely before the nation's ways of God. Cannot be contaminated by what Jehovah never built. So if you sit there and you bore a name, and I'm going to have to pull these other things up to where I can see them. I have it set to where I can do it. Let me sit there and see. 1 second. I want to sit there, I need to make sure I can sit there and see these here. And let me sit there and see here. Let me grab the second one, and let me do it here to where we can get most of it. But I just want to make sure that we understand, because I have PowerPoints that I'm going to have to show you to where we can really dig into what I'm talking about. But what I want to show you, if you bore a name, you can sit there and think whatever you want to think. You can hold to whatever you want to hold to. You can tell your mama, your daddy to hold to whatever they want to hold to. They just named it because they like the name for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. That name do not belong to them. It belongs to the manufacturer that manufactured it, because it has a way. And if it comes up counterfeit, the person and the one who made it counterfeit both go to the lake of fire. It's that simple. In fact, I want to show you something before we get there. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, just to show you what I'm talking about, just to bring us to a little bit of understanding. Just to bring us to a little understanding. Let me see. Yeah. It is right here. Oh, shoot. There we go. Now. So, it's telling us right here in verse 8. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 8. Yeah, it says, but that which is made with hands is cursed. So everything made with flesh is cursed, as well as he that made it, your parents. Because he made it, and because being corruptible, it was called God. Michael, Joseph, Jacob. I can go down the list. Deborah. I can go down the list. These was called God. For the ungodly in his ungodliness are both alike hateful to God. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. You and your mama. You and your mama. If you don't sit there and you get it correct, because you can't put it back on your mama, you better put that on you. Sit there, well, don't talk about my mama. Your mama gonna put you in hell. If you is not moving the ways of God, and she put your name on it, it's her own dang fault, and yours. She made it, you better honor it. She did it, you better honor it. Your daddy better honor it. So let's look at something. We gotta look at this in a legal way. So, same thing here. We're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this and understand what's going on here. One second. I gotta do something. Let me do this here. I can do this here. Because I need to see this. I need to see him. Okay, so I got it here. And I can put it here. So, looking at this, we're looking at the Omitted king, the second one, Joash. I want you to see it. I want you to pay real close attention, because the anchor record, honestly stated, when we look at the spiritual dictionary, it's there for you. The president authority of all word functions open. The functions is given the ways upon Joash cluster of names. The proper name occurrence in the 82 books. So, Jobias's, actually I want to show you this. Jobias's, we're going to look at something. We'll go back to these Bibles real quick. I want to go to something. First Idris, we're going to look at this. And let's get the first Idris. We're going to look at it. So verse Idris chapter 9, we're going to look at verse 48. And let's get to 9:48. We're going to get there, and it's right there. Right here. So, we have these names here, and we got to go through them. But it says in Jesus, Annas, and Tobias, Annas, and Jacobus, Septius, Antius, Manius, and Calitus, and Irenaeus, and Jacobus. This is the one we want to focus on, this one right here. That's the one why you won't do it. Let me see if it'll do it. There we go. This is the one you better focus on. That one. But we're going to go down, but this is the one you need to focus on. And Annas and Batis, the Levites, taught the law of the Lord, making them withal to understand it. So this is what it's holding us to. When we look at this also in 1 Samuel chapter 14, we're gonna be doing this in a lawful way. So 1 Samuel, and you need to mark it. We're gonna look at 14 verse 1. 14:1. And I need you to mark it. And it tells us, it came to pass upon the day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said unto the young men that bare his armor, come and let us go over to the Philistines and garrison them, that it is on the other side. But he told not his father. See, these are occurrences of name only that we're looking over on the other side, on 48. I want you to pay real close attention to what's going on. These occurrences on this side are name only. Spiritual functions of the giving way is sealed not by the verse text, but by the writer entries themselves under each name. So the strength facet, when we're looking at the strength facet, seals the spiritual understanding entries of Asteth is what we really got to look at. Because Asteth and Gabriel, again, is the functions delivering from the entry, and it's not from the verse. People sitting there saying, I don't get what it's saying. Don't worry, we're going to take all this. We're going to take care of. This is where every facet of 8 counts be traced in explicit dictionary entries. So I'm going to explain and state them plainly. The facets shall be carried by the verified anchor in the parent giving way without inventing any sub-entry that the spiritual dictionary do not contain. This is what we have to do. So, same thing is with the house of Jehovah. I ask everyone to take notice, even as me as a servant of Jehovah. Stand or fall upon verified writings of the spiritual writings in the Bible, as well as the spiritual dictionary entries alone. No facet shall be inferred by the verse that do not declare it. I want you to clearly understand what I'm saying. And now we're going to keep moving forward through this. Let's get here. And let me put my second one up. So, as we're looking at this, we're getting a better understanding. So as you look at this, we see, as using the master Hebraist method, we have to anchor things in what we're doing. And I want to make sure this is actually at a higher rate. It's at a higher rate. But I want everyone, before I proceed to opening statement properly. So we owe everybody a correction. Anchor citation previously entered into the records. This was done even on last week. That I make openly, not by error, that the proceedings to stand upon the truth of the ground of the word, which, as I showed you earlier, you see it over here. I showed you in the prior session that cited in Hebraist, verse Hebraist 9:48, through the verse function that gives upon the name of Josachibus. I showed you that. I made sure you understood. That's the one you need to make sure you pay attention to. I made that clear. So when we're looking at this verse, it's a roster on what I was showing you. It's a roster when you're looking at 1 Hebraist 9:48. And it's taught the law before the people. You've seen it was done by the Levite. And it's not a differential verse. It did not state any spiritual functions when you're looking at 1 Hebraist 9:48. But what was the occurrence was the name in the 82 books of that corpus, not the verse declared the name, function. The function statement of the spiritual understanding from the Paleo-Hebrew writings and found in the spiritual dictionary, the entries of the name of Jacobus, the one I used, the one I told you to pay attention to. It means, and I want you to write beside there, it means whom Jehovah bestows. His name is right in the smack dab in the middle of it. Not to the verse that which the name occurred. So I'm going to have to state certain things. The state of the rule of this evidence. And I'm showing you why we have to make sure we be real careful about what we're doing. Because the rule of evidence by which is even the method that I proceed with is a master brass way. Just one quick second. One quick second. Okay, sorry about that. So actually, let me see, I'm peeking. Let me move this down a little bit. Okay, so what we're looking at, like I was saying earlier, it states the evidence which the method I use out of the 82 books and cited. Those occurrences. The function of these statements should also sealed only by the writings of the Paleo-Hebrew writings. And using the spiritual dictionary, which comes from the Paleo-Hebrew writings, it gives you the clarification. So where the spiritual dictionary do not contain the verified entries of any particular facet of the 8, I'm going to state it to you. and noted from the Spiritual Dictionary. And it's not to manufacture a sub-entry in the writings that do not authorize it. We cannot add, we cannot take away from Scripture. This should be clear all the way across the board. So I ask you to also take notice of the very rule even of my profession. Because this is why I say we got to go a legal way to show you exactly what is going on. Why they was legally removed from Matthew chapter 1. We have to look at the legal way of this. So even me, myself, I'm a master of Hebraist of biblical law of the 82nd level. And then I stand upon the work that I do. And I'm standing as the directive of every facet that I must trace the actual Paleo-Hebrew writings itself. The corrections itself is operating that the directive. I will not correct it, and I will not correct its own anchor. Nor do I even have authority to do so. So when the anchor is wrong, let's say the anchor is wrong, I have no business as prosecuting any other man, and no master Hebraist worthy of the titles that shall accept any conclusion that rests upon the misstated source. I hold to that. That's a belief that every master Hebraist before me held. So the chain holds only when the link is true. The servant for, say, we're going to look at the prosecution. Prosecution, we're going to look at Jehovah. and to acknowledge this is to begin upon the correct ground. So to state this proper corrections is what you see in here. That's why you see this up on there. The corrections of the citation, you see the rule of evidence. That's why I have this up here. That's the purpose. So if it pleases each and every person that's here, and you and your conscience of your hearing in this hour, we're going to go through a legal way to raise and prove a matter of truth. Peoples of Jehovah were adverse in it of these errors that bore the name of even Joash, because that's what this is based on. Joash, and we're going to go down. So the charge before the entire people, why this happened. And this is not a novel. This isn't some fairy tale. The same charges that the Spirit through Jehovah, as his scribe Matthew, had already adjudicated. He already adjudicated this entry into the public records that because you don't see it in certain places. In the covenant chart of the Bible, by the lawful instrument of this omission. So my burden in this movement, therefore, is not to secure a new verdict at all, nowhere, but to bring forth the evidence already received and demonstrated by clear, convincing proof of the 82 books from the Paleo-Hebrew writings using the Spiritual Dictionary as the present authority, and the verdict that was already rendered was not editorial discretion, but it was or not even a scribal, even abbreviation. It's definitely not no theological flourish, but the lawful adjudication of a trademark integrity on a name under the manufacturer's statute of the way of God is what I'm gonna show you. Let me go down here. And let me see. So I'm trying to keep these up for 1 second. Cause I have to sit there. I can't see what you guys see. So I have to pull up my own ones. So the same thing as we sit there and see, we see the third one. So I stated 8 facets. The name of Joash, sealed each one by the standard correct anchor that have established. So the giving way of the name of Joash, sealed in the writings of Paleo-Hebrew, understanding the Spiritual Dictionary entries and the name itself, the entries that the present authority of the function, diverse occurrences, the cluster of Jehoiada, whom Jehovah bestows. You have Jonathan stands as the corpus. In the corpus, when you hear me say corpus, I'm just talking about the body witness. That's all I'm saying. That's the name of the cluster that's present when the 82 books was going on. So the 8 facets open in your dictionary are these. The same thing. As I said, Jehovah has given, Jehovah supported, that's 2. Jehovah had laid hold, that's 3. Jehovah is strong, Jehovah hastened to build, he hastened to build. And you have Jehovah gave in the substance of Jehovah, in whom Jehovah supported. I want you to think about those things that is on this name, Joash. It's on this name. You see them all there. All there, you see my little notes that I put up under there. All of them are there. And as I acknowledged before everyone, not every facet of the 8 have an identical word to word or word for word entry in a dictionary. The giving way of the parent function in the supporting, the laying hold, the strength, the hastening to build, the past tense, giving the substance, the renewed, supported by the lawful extension in the giving of the building way, as it manifested across the name cluster. So when we're looking at this, where the dictionary explicitly entered a facet, we will say so on what it's doing. Where the facet is lawful extension in the parent function rather than the separated entry. So again, we'll likewise say so if this comes to occur, because this is how we have to take it. Understanding the biblical understanding that stands upon the transparency of every facet. Let's look at this. This is why it takes important. This is why we have to put in work, and people look for sermons, and the sermons shouldn't be there. We have to look for lawful clarity on what we're doing. This is why we look at this. So when we read this, of these four things of these omitted kings, the strongest defense of a carnal teacher is a crack up. Honestly, it required to present a full height before it's broken. So even we want to look at something, just show you something, because I got the defense brief reads into the record. I want to put this there because I want to make sure you clearly understand where I'm coming from and why it's comical, why it's really comical. And I want you to understand this. The counsel for the defense, these are carnal preachers, these are people, Christians and such as such. That's why I'm being very critical. These are the carnal teachers, uncalled, and I hold to that, uncalled by Jehovah. In this matter is the most substantial defense brief that they filed, the 4 omitted kings, if they even know that they're there, if they even knew they were there. I will not pretend otherwise, because I know this is probably 100% of everybody's first time even really knowing, since I brought it up, that there was 4 people omitted in Matthew chapter 1, because it was never taught openly. So I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Honestly, before anyone required that I read their brief into the record to full strength before I cross-examine it. So the defense, these so-called Christians or so-called pastors, brief runs as this, even if they knew. They plead first that looking at as a defendant, Joash was a miraculous survivor. I'm going to show you why they would use that. All this, I'm going to show you why they use that. Because what they're going to do is, and I'm going to go to scripture, because when he was an infant, he was hidden in the house of the Lord of Joasheba. That's where he was hidden at. When his grandmother Athaliah swelled the seed of the royal, and she slew all the other kids. For the very preservation of the covenant protected this miracle. So actually, I want to show it to you. I want to show this to you so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's go here. And it's in 2 Chronicles. Let's go here, 2 Chronicles. Show you something. Second Chronicles, because this is one thing they use. This is when people don't know scripture and they just run the stuff and they really don't know why they run in there and what the real issue is. So we're going to look at 22. And we want 22 and we want verse 11. We want this one here. And it's right there. I want to just delete this and delete this one. Oh, shoot, I did it again. There we go. And we want verse 11. This the one we want. Right here. And Sheba, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Uzziah, and stole him from among the king's sons that were slain. You see what she did? They were slain. And put him in the bed chamber where Joasheba, the daughter of the king Jethroam, the wife of Joadiah, the priest, and she was the sister of Uzziah. You see, and hid him in Athaliah, so that she slew him not. Now you see why I'm saying that. Now you see where I'm getting this from. See, when we look at things more in a legal way and understanding what's going on in the Bible, we can come up, we can see exactly what's happening. This is why they'll say it was a miracle. This is why they would say that was a miracle. That was entered into the documents. That's why I went there. So this was also a plea. So the second, they say again, Joash was lawfully installed by the priestly regent. He was lawfully installed by the priestly regent, Joadiah. And that the people of Judah confirmed his installation. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you this to where you can sit there and see how a Christian and others really don't know their Bible, really don't understand Scripture. Let's look at something. We're going to go over here to 2 Kings. We need 2 Kings. And I know some people, I did love Kings. Yeah, but you didn't know this was going on, did you? A lot of people don't know this was going on all the time. And we need to understand what's happening. Let me see. Oh, I got to grab the wrong one. We're going to go to 2 Kings chapter 12 and look at 2. People read Kings but we have to understand, we have to do the legal homework to understand what was going on. And it says, and Joash did that which was right. Now you see this Joash? This is the same person as Joash. That's the same identical person. Some people might didn't know that either. Some people might didn't know that either. That's beside the point. Did what was right in the Lord. In the days of Joadiah, the priest instructed him. I want you to keep that in mind on what the priest instructed him. So Joash did what was right. They also plead, the fourth, that Joash fell only after his spiritual father had died. The father, and then the corruption came by way of bad counsel from the prince of Judah. The princes of Judah that did this. So therefore they want to consider him now as a victim. I want you to follow what I'm saying. This is rampant even in us, not just us, in the world. We'll say, oh no, he's victim by circumstance. This is the issue. But therefore, he needs to be considered a victim by subsequent influence rather than defended guilty by original intent. You follow me? This is what Christians do. Christians do this. and plead. A fifth sighting is a well-known case of the people of Jehovah. Everybody knows the people of Jehovah. We among the mixed multitude even now. And I'm telling you, we have even verses, because what they're real good at doing this. And I want the people here to understand what they do to get this. Because the people of Jehovah, and you see Christians, they'll say, okay, we see he's victim by circumstance. That's what they use. And then what they do, and what we love to do, we're going to always throw in a comparison. Tell me we don't do it. So what they do, they say, David, the son of Jesse, even he was grievous transgressions. He remained in the covenant chart. When you look at Matthew chapter 1, he's there. You're always looking to pull something out your rear end. So Jehovah disciplined and was endured that the justice of Joash required the same treatment. This will be the argument. How do I know? Because they used it before. They used it when I was rolling with Dr. Shaul. They used the same ignorant thing in this defense brief, in that they're going to use, because you know what David did. But to know the only higher level of ignorance Christians study, I will not strike into the weakest form, but it's the substance of them. It's the substance of them. This is the record of works of the early years, and this has been an appearance of victimhood after the priestly regent was buried. After the priestly regent was buried, and the president of the books of the worldly courts is previously honored. Now, same thing is, this is why you're going to see me be using the master Hebraist of biblical law. This is what we have to do. We have to find contradictions. And if contradictions can't be found, you got to let it go. So I acknowledge that before turning the evidence, not that Christians, camps, some of the stupidest people in the world, that's beside the point, Mormons, Seventh-day Adventists, especially Jehovah's Witnesses, brief cannot answer. So I want to show you something. The three modern presidents that they use. So I want you to enter this in the court. Enter this. And I want you to think about this. And I want to put this back up there. I want to put something back, just so we can keep this in mind and hold on to it. And I know some people are sitting there, that's why I'm not asking you, everybody okay? Because I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say they're not. Because this isn't for everybody, especially them who is not of God. So that's why you don't hear me asking. So it tells you right here, and it tells you the same thing. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even its eternal power in Godhead, so they are without excuse. That's why I'm making this as clear. Because we got to enter into record the exhibits, what's going on. Even this present year in 2026. And why it's adjudicated. Already adjudicated. And if most people don't know what adjudicated means, I'm going to share with you what it means. It means a formal judgment or a decision about a problem or a dispute matter in its own jurisdiction, that the natural law is trademarked, so the integrity may be illuminated by the spiritual law of the covenant integrity after the rule of Romans 1:20. This is what I'm doing. Were the invisible things of God was clearly seen being made. So we got to look at another piece. And we're going to look at something. Let's go over here to 5. I want to pull up 5. I want you to look at slide 5. Well, look at this here. And you'll see here, it's talking about the trademark integrity. Brand authority is what I want you to see. Is what I want you to see. To understand first, the first exhibit, the doctrine of a salvage title vehicle. I want you to understand that. A salvage title vehicle. I got that on there. because I want you to understand the physical things, how it's going to be related spiritually. Salvage title of a vehicle. Everyone is asked to judicial notice this following, this procedure. So when a vehicle has been totaled, it can be totaled in a flood or by a collision. But then what happened, you see people do it, they're all over YouTube. You see a third party there rebuild it in their shop. And when they rebuild the vehicle to its present or original manufacturer for a warranty service, some of them put them back perfectly. The manufacturer not consider anything. Whether it's rebuilt, the vehicle has been driven smoothly for 2-3 years. They can care less. The manufacturer is going to pull the Carfax record, they're going to examine, they're going to inspection records, and they're going to brand the title with the binding word, it's salvage. That's a salvage vehicle. I don't care what you do to it. That vehicle is salvage. We can't honor the warranty. Not even for recalls. The vehicle is forever excluded from the manufacturer's authorized lineup. So the early performance avails nothing. The integrity of the branch requires that the corruption in the frame, once entered into the public record, exclude the vessels permanently. This settles the law in every jurisdiction where manufacturer retain trademark authority. Hopefully you guys understand that. So the same thing with the second one. You see I have up there, the Frankenstein watch. The Frankenstein watch. I have to put that there. Why? Because understanding the doctrine of the Frankenstein-built watch, a timepiece bearing a genuine watch, and then it has a Rolex case and bezel on it, but it was assembled by the non-original movements smuggled in by the third-party watchmaker and present. And then it even be present and it be presented to you in the official Rolex service repair for service. In the center, do not even consider how accurately the watch has kept time. Other wearer, he can care less. The center opens the case backing, examine the caliber, and scans the serial numbers, and then they're going to refuse service. Try it. People have done it. Try it. People have done it. The watch is permanently excluded from the manufacturer's service registry, and every early timekeeping avails nothing. The corruptions inside the case is sufficient. So by itself, to disqualify the timepiece from the authorized lineup, no matter how well its function of this wrist owner. Sweetie, can you turn that air on? Yeah, thank you. So the same thing is, we'll look at 6. We need to look at 6. I want to pull something. We're going to look at 6. And we'll see 6 here. So when you look at 6, this contaminated artificial intelligence model, I want you to understand what's going on. So this third understanding, the doctrine of the contaminated artificial intelligence model, this present hour of 26. The model that has been fine-tuned upon counterfeit data sets, who train corpus, has been secretly contaminated by the adversarial injection, is present in the production and release. For weeks, even months, can produce surface outputs, cause casual evaluation. Users may even praise it. But when the audit suite is finally run, when the data provenance trail is examined, and when contamination is exposed, the model is recalled. It is not the release of production. It cannot enter into the lineup for the trusted model. The corruption in its training overrules the apparent quality of its outputs. It's automatic. It's automatic. This is the regulatory standard what governs every authoritative model in this field. People ask, and take note that such recalls have already occurred in public records every year. These three exhibits stand together as one body established by doctrine itself. The Savage type of vehicle, the Frankenstein-built watch, and the contaminated AI model. Each of these vessels perform authentically for seasonal, even before the deeper inspection, even before it's exposed to corruption beneath the surface. So every case that the manufacturer verdict was rejection. I don't care which one you goes to. In every case, clear performance was insufficient to overcome the corruption, discovered the inspection. So in every case, the integrity of the authorized lineup was required by exclusion of a corrupted vessel. So when we're looking at this, the mass of people that have already accepted these doctrines, and now what we see in this Christian world, you got billions and billions upon billions. In my profession, I am, again, a master of Hebraist and biblical law. I have one client. One client. The Bible. Done. To defend truth. One client. Specialized practice. This is why that I apply the same spirit I apply to the same doctrine, the same legal precision in this area bore the same name as Joash. This is why that goes down. Let's look at something. Let's look at slide 7. Get some understanding there. Because to move to the prosecuting this case, understanding at each order, understanding each piece, I'm going to stipulate on the behalf of Jehovah, as a servant of Jehovah, that this understanding performed correctly under the supervision of a priestly regent. And I don't know if I'm saying people might don't understand what regent means, but I'm going to tell you what a regent is. This is why you keep hearing me say regent. But a regent is a person appointed to a minister. That's all I'm saying. So when you hear me saying it, that's what I'm actually saying. So the supervising priestly regent, the person appointed as that minister. So Joadiah. So the defense, the strongest exhibit is here granted. So the temple was repaired and dedicated thing that gathered the masons, the carpenters, the laborers. When you looked at 2 Kings chapter 12 verse 2, I'm gonna show it back to you. We're gonna look at it. We're gonna look at it and we'll sit there here. It says, and Joash did which was right in the sight of the Lord. The days that therein he was in Judea, the priest instructed him. He was the regent. That's all I was saying. So we see what's happening here. So now, even as I'm looking at this, so as a servant, I do not even contest this fact that he did what was good. You cannot contest it. It's right here in Scripture. So we'll be a fool to sit there for me to push something like that and to try to get you to believe it. So as a servant, I don't contest this fact. The vehicle drove smoothly under the warranty of the priestly regent. The person appointed to administer, Joash, and the badge upon the hood was true. The VIN number appeared clean. The airbags deployed at the manufacturer's design. So every observer of the early years was the authorized vehicle of the ways of God. But Joadiah died. Joadiah died. Let's look at something. We're gonna go back to 2 Chronicles. See, this is when we have to put in work. So we're gonna go to 2 Chronicles chapter 24. And we're going to look at 17 and 18. And we want 17 and 18. It's right here. Well, 17 and 18. And it's saying that after the death of Jehoiada, bingo, after the death of Jehoiada, came the princes of Judah and made abstinence to the king, and the king hearkened unto them. You see, it's a problem already, but that's okay. We're going to get down to 18. And they left the house of the Lord. They left the house of the Lord out of their fathers and served groves and idols. And the wrath came upon Judah and Jerusalem after their trespass. Now you see it's an issue. You see it's an issue. So now, with Jehovah, the vessel, Joash, that's his stuff. Joash belongs to God. I want you to keep that in mind. Joash, that movement, that function belongs to God, and they put it on this man. So the audit site was ran. The Carfax report pulled. And the verse entered the records of the movement of this inspection. And from this moment forward, with all 8 ways of God shall be shown in evidence, have been inverted, and built beneath the bad shall be exposed. I want you to count these indictments. I want you to count them. First indictment. You remember the names I gave you. Jehovah have given. Remember that one? But the defendant gave back the gift unto idols. The movement, in the moment that the regent protection was buried, the prosperity happened. The exclusive belongs to Jehovah. It exclusively belongs to him as part that came with the original manufactured box. But we return to the dissimilar yard. The giving way of God was inverted in the giving back of the vessel. Got a problem here. But we got count 2. Remember, Jehovah supported? Remember that? Jehovah supported. But the defendant exchanged the support of Jehovah for the support of princesses who counseled him in apostasy. I want you to think about that. The manufacturer warranty was unlawfully transferred to a third-party shop, manufactured, never authorized, and the support that has been deposited into the vessel was redirected to every prince's counsel, the corruption. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I want to show you something. Let's look at something. I want to show you this. Let's look at 8. I want to show you this. I got to show you this while we on it, so I won't forget. In 8, 3 counts. 3 counts. Jehovah laid hold. Remember that one? Look at it. It's right there. It's right there in front of you now. You ain't can get around it. Jehovah hath laid hold. It's right there in front of you. One of the movements of that name that's embedded in the name function that cannot be changed because the creator and the architect and the manufacturer is God of Joash. But laying hold loosely, that very hour, Jehoiada was buried. And the defendant slipped the very restraint in the region instructing had imposed, so the tracking device installed by the manufacturer was disabled. You said that sounds like thievery. Oh, it is thievery. It was disabled. In the instant, the supervisor was no longer present to monitor it. But we got the 4th count. We got the 4th count. We just looked at it. But we got to go and look at some more. Let's look at it a little bit more. And we're going to go to 24, and we're going to go to 23 and 24. 23 and 24. I want you to see something. I want you to see something. Then we're going to go back. We're going to go back. And let's put this together. It says, it came to pass at the end of the year, the host of Syria came up against them and came to Judah and Jerusalem to destroy all the princesses of the people among the people, and sent all the spoil of them unto the king of Damascus. And the army of the Syrians came with a small company of men. And the Lord delivered a great, very great host into their hand, because they have forsaken the Lord God of their fathers, so they executed judgment against Joash. Now you follow me? Now you follow me? Now you're saying why. Now you're saying why. See, the engine rated for a high strength under the manufacturer's inspection was found running on what we'll call cheap fuel. It's supposed to be 93 octane. We run it on 82 octane. We run on the cheapest fuel we can buy. Unlicensed, go and get gas in an unlicensed station. The road itself exposed to corruption when the small company defeated the greatest host. You're looking at count 5. Remember, Jehovah has it. Remember that? Remember hasten to build? Jehovah hasten. Remember the thought? See it right there. Jehovah hasten to build. The same hand hastened to build the temple, hastened to stone the Zechariah, the son of Joadiah, the priest, in the court of the house of the Lord. We can look at it. It's easy to look at it. We're going to go right here to 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles, and we're going to look at it. And we want our 20. We want 20 to 22 here. We want this here. We want this one right here, to 22. And look at it. It said, the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, the son of Jediah, the priest, and which stood above the people, and said unto them, thus saith God, why transgress ye the commandments of the Lord, that ye cannot prosper? Because ye have forsaken the Lord, and he have forsaken you. But people say he won't do it. Forsake him. See what he'll do. And they have conspired against him, stupid as they, and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king of the court of the house of the Lord. Thus Joash the king remembered not the kindness which Joadiah his father has done to him, but slew his son. And when he died, he said, the Lord looked upon it and required it. Lying. Lying. You see what's going on here. So this is what the issue is. So it entered into this, and now what to do? The construction crew raised the building, turned upon the architect's own son, and stoned him with stones meant for the wall. Meant for the wall. If the very one will note the legal precision of this inversion, the building facet did not merely cease, it reversed itself. The same hand that built the house slaying the son of the man that built the king. We do that today. We do that today. Let me get a little bit closer. Let's get a little bit closer. Because you got to count 6. Remember, we got 8. Got to count 6. It got Jehovah gave. Jehovah gave. Completed. So in past tense, he already completed giving. But that he did profane that completed giving when he took that hallowed things out of the house of the Lord and sent them to Hazael, the king of Syria, as tribute. People sitting there like, what? Oh, I'm going to show it to you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to show it to you. So we have to look at all this for what it is. 2 Kings chapter 12, looking at verse 17. I'm going to show it to you. 2 Kings chapter 12, verse 17. Let's look at this. In this 2 Kings 12, verse 17. Verse 17. We want to get 17. I'm going to also grab 17 and 18 just to make sure we concrete this down. So now we got this. And it says, and Hazael, the king of Syria, went up and fought against Gath and took it. And Hazael set his face to go up to Jerusalem. And Joash, the king of Judah, took all the hallowed things, this is the same Joash, took all the hallowed things of Jehoshaphat and Joram and Ahaziah, his father, the kings of Judah, had dedicated to his own hallowed thing, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of the Lord and in the king's house, and sent it to Hazael's king of Syria, and he went his way from Jerusalem. Tell me we didn't do it. Tell you right there he did it. So this got to be entered into the record. We have to enter this into the record. So the prosperity parts that came in the original box were stripped from the vessel and sold to this competitor on the gray market. That's what we can look at that as. That's how we can look at that. That's how you can see that. That's the shadiness on what we do. But we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Still got to count 7. We still got the 7th we ain't done with. Remember the substance of Jehovah? The substance of Jehovah? We forgot about that. Was carried out of the temple into the hands of Hazael. And the substance of the defendant himself was struck down by his own servants in his bed, where they slew him for the blood of the son of Joadiah the priest on the shadiness that he did. Actually, I want to make sure you guys see this, because I want to show you how shady people get paid back. This, we need 2 Chronicles. This over here. We need it over here. 2 Chronicles 24:25. It's right here. Okay. Right here. And it tells us. It says, when they were departed from him, they left him in great disease, and his own servants conspired against him in the blood of his sons of Joadiah and the priests. They slew him in his bed, and he died. And they buried him in the city of David, but buried him not in the sepulchre of the kings. Why? This kind of stuff we do. This is what we do. We do this. We do this. So the vessel was repossessed. The title was branded by the very hand that stolen the manufactured components. Now you follow me? But we got one more. We got one more. It's right there. Whom Jehovah supported. Remember that? Whom Jehovah supported. But the support was withdrawn when the support turned against the line of his supporters. So the defendant, who had been hidden by Joadiah's own household in the temple And he was done at an infant. At an infant. Was struck down by the shedding of the blood of Jordia's son. So y'all see this, if y'all want to see a whole bunch of craziness going on, people sitting there, I want to look at reality show, you can see a whole bunch of craziness that went on in the Bible. So the vessel that has been preserved by the manufacturer, we call protection in its infancy. It was finally totaled when the very driver who refused to honor the service agreement, what that name means, which was a preservation, had depended. 8 counts of this indictment. 8 ways God deposited. 80 virgins was established in the records of the 82 books. 8 legal indictments now stamped upon the title. But the main thing is, we want to bring up one more. Let's look at something. Because remember I told you they're going to bring up David. I told you they're going to bring David up. Remember I brought that up. So we got to look at that. We're going to look at that one. And let me get it to where I can see it. Because I want to bring that. I want to look at that. I want to make sure we do. Because when they do it, they're going to bring that up. So we got to handle this David citation real carefully, because the strongest argument that the defense have is this. This is the strongest defense that a Christian will have. So now I turn to the cross-examination. So the defense strongest argument is this understanding, the citation of the people versus David and Jesse. Because then when we look at this precedent, this retention of this charge, and despite this grievous transgression. So as we sit there, the counsel going to plead that David, they're going to always plead that David was retained in the chart after the matter of Uriah and Bathsheba. Remember I told you that. That's what they're going to look. Hey, remember David killed Uriah and he already had committed adultery with Bathsheba. Told you that. So they're going to say then Joash should be retained also, since his fall came likewise after his faithful service. Keep that in mind. So we got to keep these in mind. So with the cross-examination, David case was not president counsel claimed. You got to keep this in mind. The distinction is dispositive. We have to use this dispositive. David was, when he was confronted by the prophet Nathan, understand what I'm getting ready to tell you. When he was confronted by Nathan, did not silence the prophet, did he? He didn't kill Nathan. He received a rod, he wept, and then he potentially expressing sorrow. He even did this in Psalms, the 51st chapter. Actually, I can show it to you. He did this in 51st chapter. Let me pull this back up, because I'm going to show you what David did. David was unique. He was a unique guy. Psalms 51st chapter. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is a short chapter, so we might just read it all. Let's look at this. 51st chapter. No, it's kind of long, so what we'll do, we'll just grab some of it. But let's tell you right here. We'll just grab this right here. It says this. You see the Psalm of David when Nathan the prophet came to him after he had gone into Bathsheba. So you see, you can't even get away from this. And I'm not. But this is what David did. Different than what Joash did. I'm going to show you the difference. Have mercy upon me. This ain't Nathan. This is David. O God, according to thy loving kindness, according to thy multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgression. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sins, for I acknowledge my transgressions, for my sins are forever before me. Against thee and only thee have I sinned, and done this evil in thy sight, and thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest. Remember, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Remember, thou desirest truth, and in the inward parts and in the hidden parts thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bone which thou hast broken my rejoice. Hide thy face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities, creating me a clean heart, O God. Renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from the presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore me to the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. Then I will teach transgression thy ways, and sinners shall be converted into thee. Deliver me from the blood guiltness, O God, thy God, in my salvation. And my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. O Lord, open thou my lips, that my mouth shall show thee forth thy praise. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else I would give it. If thou delightest not in burnt offerings, the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, broken and contrite heart, O God, thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy good pleasure unto Zion. Build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offerings of the whole burnt offering. Then shall they offer bullocks upon the altar. I end up having to read the whole thing, because I'm going to tell you, David built different. He built different. And he's showing you right there, that's what David did. So this is why we sitting there, we holding what we saying. So in David's case, it's this. This is why he said this, and this is submitted. So the discipline that took the first child, it took the first child that he had brought with the sword in his own house, that humbled him before the Lord all his remaining days. The David case is the case of the chastened household, and it stands as this present in the inclusion of the wife. Urias, you know, the very chart is now under the consideration. So by contrast, the spirit that sent the prophet Zechariah to the defendant that they want to say, Joash, he was being the defendant, he did not weep. You can't find that. Joash did not weep, and Joash did not submit. No, he didn't do neither one of those. Joash, he stoned the prophet in the court of the house of the Lord. See, that's what he did. He came and told him, well, I'll take care of that. I know how to take care of this. I'm going to stone your butt. And that's what they did. In David's case, was not this controlling president. It was a contrary president. David's case proved that Jehovah retained the vessel that endures the discipline. He had to. Joash's case proved that Jehovah brand the vessel that slayed the prophet, sent the minister, the discipline, the defense on citation when properly examined upon the cross. He did not exonerate. Meaning he didn't officially clear someone or blame or criminal charges. The defendant, he convicted him by the very president council that raised this defense. The It's clear as day. So, let's look at something. We look at this and we sit there and see a little bit more. Let me see. I got to pull up the other slide. So we got to bring all these exhibits up. Why we got to do this? Why I show you what happens. So now I ask each and every one of you to render this verdict, same thing, that the Spirit, through his scribe Matthew, that had already rendered, and until the records of the legal reasoning, which upon the verdict stands. The lawful manufacturer did not add the salvage title. Joash, he didn't add him. That's why you don't see him in Matthew. No matter how smoothly rebuilt it drove in the first 3 years. I care less. He rebuilt he did all kind of good stuff. You have people who do things here. They say, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did that. I got to account for them. Okay. Did Joash get added? See, the lawful manufacturer do not add the Frankenstein-built watch for a service registry, no matter how accurately it keeps time before the case was open. The lawful manufacturer do not release contaminated AI productions, no matter how impressive the early outputs appear or the audit run. The integrity of the authorized lineup is held in every jurisdiction in the recognized trademark authority to require the exclusion of the corrupted vessel. So the very authentic vessel is lying to be discredited by the counterfeit bearing the manufacturer's mark. This is clear as day. You can't even get around this. You can't even get around it. So when we're looking at Joash, their defense brief is acknowledged. It's clearly acknowledged. His performance under Judea, we get it. We all should get it. It is granted. We don't have a problem with that. He repaired the temple? Yeah. Joash did that. That's granted. He fell to the princesses. That's granted also. But the rule of the chart is not the smoothness of the early driving. The rule of the chart was found in the frame when the manufacturer diagnostic computer was found to be plugged in which occurred in the very hour. In that very hour when Joadiah died and he was buried, the defending frame of Athaliah's frame, it was hidden in the house of the Lord at the infant precisely because his own dang grandmother, it was his own dang grandmother, has slain all the seeds of the royal of her old Baal rage, of her old heathen self in the corruption stream. And that it produced him was the same corruption stream that overlooked him the very moment the priestly regent was buried. This is what's going on. So when we're looking at this, under Joadiah, so you got to understand, under Joadiah, when was very smooth driving the salvage title vehicle, the first 3 years, the 8th eversion that followed Joadiah's burial, where the diagnostic read out the manufacturer could not even ignore it. So the heir held the gift. Jehovah was only long as the priestly regent lived. Long as he was living, he's good. He died, boom, it flipped. The covenant turned upon the priestly own moment the regent was buried. It is not a dominant successor way. It wasn't a dominant successor. It wasn't. It was conditional flickering as long as Athaliah tainted it. So it's the rebuilding masquerading the authorized vessel. You follow me? Let's look at this last slide. People are sitting there like, what in the hell going on? It's all in your Bible. It's all there. People sitting there, what in the hell? What in the hell going on in this dang Bible? Told you all kinds of stuff be going on in here. So, the verdict, adjudicated for mission. This is adjudicated for mission. In Matthew, as the Spirit authorized, the author's lineup, the covenant chart, did lawfully brand the title and withdrew the error from the chart. That the integrity of the way of God is given, the building did not discredit by the counterfeit marking that was bared on him. So we can rest on this. So when true people of Jehovah, when we sit here and we put in the work and we put in the study, we understand what's going on, we establish clear proof from the 82 books written in the Paleo-Hebrew, translated in the spiritual dictionary in the era of Joash, was lawfully omitted from Matthew chapter 1, from the covenant chart. And the omission was not an editorial jurisdictive issue. It was sealed by the 8 counts of the inversion against the 8 ways of God deposited in the defendant name Joash. You see, we going somewhere with this because we got to go. We got some ways to go because we're going to get to these names that these people walking around with. So respectfully, when we look at the deeper studies of the law, affirm in this verdict that render the Spirit that make his own people today, no carnal teacher, no carnal Christian, especially camps. Some of the stupidest people out there. Camps are just so stupid. Just stupid. Otherwise, present can appeal it. So smote it. Main thing you gotta remember is this. Who is like God? None. But to try to move down to this third king, it'll be another 2 hours. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna end here. This cat done called me. This cat done caught my butt. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna end it here. We're gonna pick this up, cause boy, I'm gonna tell you, the one you better watch is when we get to these women. Hopefully, I can get through these 2 kings next week. Cause when we get to these women, boy, y'all better sit down and get you a glass of lemonade with a little dip of lime in there. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna open this up. We're gonna go into the Zoom. We do have some announcements based on what's going on. Where we got what's going on First Fruits. Take care of a couple of things there. We're gonna also pick up the questions and answers for all the teachers that went out this past week, and we want to thank each and every person that was joining with us today as we continually move forward on the ways of God. So I want to thank each and every person. And the same thing again, as we said earlier, we want to thank also the Brown family. We want to thank them for all the good service that they have done for us, and as they continue to strive here and move forward, we appreciate all the service that they have done. And we want to make sure that their work don't go unnoticed, but they go noticed on what they have done, on the hard work that they continually do. And I believe the husband's still going to be doing it from what I've seen, what he was doing. So with that, we're going to end here. So I say until we meet again, I say to each and every person, until then, everybody's welcome to join the Zoom. Until then, I say to everybody, shalom.
Do not leave me here, oh Lord, in this valley that I cannot understand. Do not leave me with my questions. Take my trembling, take my hand. If you lead me through the silence, I will still believe you're near. Just don't hide your face forever. Do not leave me here. 10 years, 20, 30, 50. If it takes my whole short life, I will watch beside this doorway with your promise as my light. I will wait on you, oh Lord. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. When the day till my waiting life becomes my love for you. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. Through the rise and fall of every passing year, I will whisper back the words that you have spoken. Only do not leave me here. Your words are the only treasure I can carry through this night. I will bind them to my memory till they turn my fear to light. When my strength is small and failing, when my hope is wearing thin, I will open what you've spoken and let your sentences breathe me in. If the heavens feel like grass above me, if my prayers fall back like rain, still I'll lay my heart upon your altar and wait for you. In joy and pain, I will wait on you, oh Lord. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. When the nights are cold and nothing seems to change, I will keep your words like fire in my heart till they burn through doubt and rearrange. Oh, and I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. 10 and 20, 30, 50 years, let the world move on without me if it must. Only do not leave me here. Even if you tarry, I will stay at the door where I last knew your voice. Even if the seasons all run together, I will cling to the first time you gave me a choice. To love you in the waiting, to trust you in the dark, to guard the word you gave me as the lantern of my heart. I will be here waiting on you, oh Lord. Through the quiet and the storm and the unknown, I will keep your words as covenant inside me till the day you come and call me home. Do not leave me here, oh Lord. If you lead, I'll follow all my years. Take my life and take my waiting as an offering, while I hold your words and wipe my tears.